Even for the people who live on this property, it's easy to forget that beneath this soil, an on-site sewage treatment system is working around the clock, every day, year in and year out. It's easy to forget because it all happens down there, out of sight. Other than an inspection pipe or perhaps a manhole cover, there's very little evidence of the septic tank. And whether the soil treatment area is located below ground or incorporated into a mound, it too is pretty much concealed in the landscape. But for the property owner who depends on this type of system for safe and effective sewage treatment, out of sight shouldn't mean out of mind. Just like other types of valuable equipment that require servicing in order to stay in good, reliable operating condition, a septic system needs periodic attention and maintenance to continue to work the way it was designed. And like most neglected equipment, a poorly maintained septic system can be dangerous to operate and very costly to replace if it fails. Understanding how an on-site sewage treatment system works and what must be done to keep it working safely are the keys to avoiding these problems. A well-maintained septic system is a hidden investment, not only in dollars, but in peace of mind.
Hi,
Larry. How are things going here?
Well, as you can see, the installation of this new system is moving right along. The tank is in place, and the drain pipes for the soil treatment area are just about to be connected.
One nice thing about visiting a site like this is that it's an opportunity to really see the septic system.
Which won't be the case here much longer. I know these folks are anxious to have this job finished since the house isn't habitable until the sewage treatment system is in place. It's one of those things people really can't live without.
The fact of life is that wherever people live, sewage and wastewater are generated. Raw sewage is a nasty brew of sludges and scum, teeming with disease-causing microbes called pathogens. Chemicals from household cleaners and heavy metals from things like makeup and plumbing pipes may also be present in wastewater. And both sewage and wastewater contain high levels of nutrients that are harmful to people and the environment.
Obviously, these things cannot simply be flushed or drained into the environment. Solids must be removed and stored. Pathogens, chemicals, and nutrients must be broken down or destroyed. These processes of separation, storage, and cleansing of sewage and wastewater are collectively described by a single term: treatment. Most people who live in towns and cities are connected to a municipal treatment system in which sewage and wastewater are funneled to a wastewater treatment plant. People living in areas without access to municipal treatment own, operate, and maintain their own on-site mini treatment plants, their septic systems.
Being connected to a municipal treatment system may offer property owners a certain convenience, but there is no second best when it comes to sewage treatment. The fact is, the treatment provided by a well-designed and properly operating septic system is just as good, if not better, as from a municipal treatment plant.
The emphasis here is a well-designed and properly operating system. As Russ pointed out, a site like this, where everything is still exposed, is a great place to take a look at how a septic system is designed and how it operates. But the process actually begins elsewhere, with the twist of a tap.
The first component of an on-site treatment system is the plumbing. Every time we turn on the faucet or flush the toilet, wastewater and everything carried with it, soap and dirt, grease and detergent, toilet paper and dead goldfish, are collected through a network of drains and pipes and funneled into the septic tank.
The septic tank is the first step of the treatment process and the place where the separation of solids occurs. In this watertight tank, the bacteria naturally present in sewage begin to break down the solids. Gravity causes the contents of the tank to settle and separate into 3 distinct layers. Heavier organic and inorganic solids slowly sink to the bottom and form a sludge layer. Lighter components such as greases, soaps, and toilet paper float to the top, forming a layer of scum. And the remaining liquid layer will transport pathogens, nutrients, and suspended solids to the soil treatment area. The solid layers remain stored in the septic tank until they can be removed by cleaning.
The physical features of the septic tank include an inlet baffle that ensures entering wastewater mixes with the liquid contents of the tank, while also preventing scum from floating back and clogging the inlet pipe. Similarly, an outlet baffle keeps scum from leaving the tank and entering the soil treatment area. When the tank is functioning properly, it is filled with liquid to the bottom of the outlet pipe. Tanks can be equipped with filters, which help keep solids from entering and damaging the drain field. Now, they install into the exit baffle of your septic tank, or others catch fibers from your washing machine. Talk to your septic contractor or county zoning official to see if they would benefit you. Inspection pipes are located just above the baffles and are used to inspect the inlet, outlet, and baffles. Clogs to these areas can be unplugged through these openings, but the pipe should not be used for cleaning or pumping the tank. The manhole in the cover of the tank is designed for these purposes.
With all the gases and pathogens churning around in the septic tank, it goes without saying that during use, the inspection pipes must remain capped. If the caps have been broken or removed, they must be replaced, not just plugged or covered. New caps specifically designed for this purpose are readily available. The manhole on a septic tank is usually buried beneath the soil, but if it is exposed, the lid should be properly secured.
The final element in the septic system is the soil treatment area. A single handful of loose, unsaturated soil can contain over 50 million bacteria. And the pathogen and nutrient-rich soup from the septic tank is a 4-star meal for these hungry microbes. Because these beneficial soil bacteria need air to survive, it is critical that the ground is not saturated with water during any part of the year. The mechanism for soil treatment is completely natural. Liquid sewage from the septic tank is piped to a drain field and allowed to seep into the soil. There are several methods of dispersing the liquid. A common way is through a layer of crushed rock. Where the liquid meets the soil, a layer of fine solids, dead bacteria, and soil bacteria will form. This is called a biomat. The biomat plays an important role in regulating how fast the liquid passes into the soil and ensures that the soil does not become saturated. After the liquid is percolated through the biomat and then through 3 to 4 feet of unsaturated soil, pathogens will have been destroyed, solids will have been filtered out, and nutrients will have been absorbed or diluted. The sewage has now been fully treated, and harmless water is recycled back into the environment.
There are 2 basic types of drain fields. The geography and the soil conditions of the property will determine which should be used. As we've seen, an effective soil treatment area requires 3 to 4 feet of unsaturated soil below the drain field. On lots where these soil conditions are met, the most economical type of treatment system is a simple rock-filled trench or network of trenches. It is important to remember, however, that the soil must remain unsaturated year-round. In places where soil conditions aren't so favorable, the drain field can be incorporated into an artificial mound. Mounds are typically raised with clean sand to provide the proper separation between the drain field and the saturated soil. When gravity alone is not enough to move liquids from the septic tank to the drain field, a situation that's typical of mounds, a lift station that utilizes a small pump is a final important component of the septic system.
We've looked at how the basic septic system is set up and at the simple and effective process it uses to treat wastewater. Unfortunately, because of neglect or abuse, not all septic systems work the way they were designed. When a system allows untreated sewage to seep or leak into the environment, we say that it's failed. When this happens, the property owner is faced with a major health threat, not to mention a potential financial disaster. To find out more about why septic systems fail and the ramifications of a failed system, I met with a professional in the field of wastewater treatment.
When I look at failing systems, or when I get asked about failing systems, probably the #1 cause is that they get too much water. That is, that we expect them to handle more water than they can handle. That is, either I use too much water inside the home, or my system leaks, so I add water that way. All of a sudden, I have a system that is not able to handle the water that I've added to it. The second reason that I see failures is that I don't take care of it. None of our systems take care of themselves. The last thing in terms of failure is that I made bad decisions in the system that I chose, or the guy that I hired to build it didn't follow through in terms of doing the stuff that he needed to do. The problems with failing systems is, #1, if it fails to the surface, I end up with sewage sitting in my backyard. Sewage can make people sick. The second problem is just as bad, and that is if I have a system that maybe wasn't the right type of system, I end up now with sewage entering the groundwater. The problem there is that groundwater ends up somewhere. It either feeds our lakes and streams, or it comes back into the house through the well. The other ramification of a failed system is just straight and simple that it costs me more money. When I have a problem with my system, I have to replace it. I have to fix it. I get to deal with that myself, so it costs me money. So by taking care of these other things, I can save money because I don't have to invest more money. The thing that's exciting to me is that it can be a long-term system if I take care of the pieces of it. So by making a little investment in terms of maintenance, making a little investment in terms of watching water use, I end up with a big benefit in terms of not having to fix, repair, replace my system.
The pitfalls of a failed system, disease, contamination, and large out-of-pocket expenses can usually be avoided by practicing preventative maintenance. In fact, the benefits of care applied to one part of the septic system will often compound throughout the entire system. Sometimes this is simply a matter of developing some good habits, like using less water.
The septic system uses water to operate, but there can be too much of a good thing. Anytime water is added to the system, the same amount of water already in the septic tank is pushed to the drain field. If new water is constantly being added, the septic tank won't have time to do its job. Large amounts of water entering the system in a short period of time can cause the contents of the tank to become agitated. When this happens, solids may be forced into the soil treatment area, destroying its ability to complete the treatment process and causing the system to fail. Overloading a system like this is one of the most preventable reasons for septic system failure. The solution can be summed up in 2 words: water conservation.
Contrary to what some might think, water conservation does not mean deprivation or sacrifice. It means efficiency. Most people would be amazed by how much water is used just in normal daily tasks and how much of that water could be saved and not flooded through the septic system simply by adopting a few water-wise habits and outfitting our homes with newer, water-efficient fixtures and appliances. For a short course in how to use water more efficiently in every part of the home, I consulted an expert in this area.
What people may not realize is that you don't have to be running a hotel to overload a septic system. The fact is, the water use habits of even an average family, especially one with kids, can easily overburden a system. This is why using water wisely is so important. Wise water use starts in the bathroom because in a typical household, at least 2/3 of the water used is washed down the drain or flushed down the toilet. Replacing older toilets with a new low flush model will save up to 5 gallons every time you flush. Actually more if your old toilet leaked. New low flush water conserving models use 1.6 gallons to flush, where an old standard toilet uses 5 to 7 gallons. And of course, reducing the number of flushes will make a big difference. To fill a bathtub takes about 5 gallons for every inch. And if you shower with a standard shower head, 5 gallons for each minute. This amount can be instantly cut in half by installing a low-flow shower head. Other ways to conserve while showering are taking shorter showers or turning off the water while soaping up. Don't forget, leaky faucets as well as running the water while brushing teeth or washing hands is also wasteful. In the kitchen, letting the faucet run is commonplace, as we often do washing fruits and vegetables, rinsing dishes, or running water to drink. Flow restrictors for faucets are inexpensive, easy to install, and they will save a lot of water. These range from simple aerators that fit inside the faucet to variable flow models that can really cut down on the water use for kitchen chores. Older dishwashers use around 12 to 15 gallons per cycle, while the newer ones use 6 to 9 gallons per cycle. Running full loads will save a lot of water both in the kitchen and in the laundry room. A front-loading washing machine uses significantly less water per load than a top-loading washer. However, a sud saver feature on a top loader will also save water by allowing you to reuse most of the water from the wash bill. We can also conserve water by making sure the water level on the washer is set to match the size of the load to be washed, or by simply cutting down the number of loads. Spreading out the loads over several days rather than doing everything at the same time will also help ease the burden on the septic system. By making these kinds of positive changes in the way we use water, we will benefit both in the short term with lower monthly water costs and in the long term by promoting a long-lasting and properly working septic system.
Using less water is excellent preventative medicine against a failed system, but water isn't the only thing that goes down drains. Many household products used in daily living are also funneled through the system. Controlling how we use these products is another way our daily routines can be easily adjusted to benefit the septic system.
Soaps and detergents are a good example. Dishwasher soaps and laundry detergents are a big source of nutrients that can cause real problems, both for the system and the environment. Low or no phosphate products are available that will clean just as well without helping lakes to turn green. Liquid soaps and detergents should be used whenever possible. Powdered products add fine particles that can cause sludges to build up more quickly. And of course, use only the amount of soaps needed to get the job done. This is often less than the manufacturer's recommendation.
Household cleaners and disinfectants are effective because they kill bacteria, but the bacteria scattered throughout the septic system are an essential part of the treatment process. For this reason, try to minimize adding these products into the system. This means avoiding toilet cleaners that regularly release disinfectants into the tank or bowl. Solvents in paints and other common household chemicals also kill beneficial bacteria and can pass through the system to contaminate groundwater. Never pour things like these down a drain.
And never drain grease or flush cigarettes or any other kind of garbage down the toilet. These solids don't belong in the septic system and cannot be broken down or treated.
Smart management practices like conserving water and controlling what goes down the drain will help safeguard a septic system, but it mustn't stop there. As we mentioned, a septic system is really a mini treatment plant, and part of the responsibility of owning and operating such a system is maintaining it. In fact, the way the septic tank is designed requires regular maintenance. Remember, the tank treats solids by separating and storing sludge and scum. Unless these solids are periodically cleaned out, they will accumulate until they begin to interfere with the treatment process. Eventually, solids may be forced into the drain field, causing significant and often irreparable damage.
Just like a car isn't designed to keep working without ever changing the oil, a septic tank won't keep working without periodic cleaning. But how often should a tank be cleaned? Like oil in a car, this depends on how much and how hard the system is used. On average, the typical septic tank will need to be cleaned every 18 to 30 months. The amount of water a household uses, the number of people in the home, the septic tank capacity, the type of appliances in the house. These are some of the factors that will determine whether the tank needs to be cleaned more or less frequently.
There's more to cleaning a tank than simply pumping out the contents. Cleaning must be done right, or it can have ineffective, even negative consequences. Only a licensed professional should be hired to do the job. To learn about the specifics of cleaning and more about tank maintenance in general, I talked with someone with a lot of experience.
Cleaning means removing all the solids and sludge from the septic tank. Any solids left in the tank could plug your baffle or be forced out in the drain field when the tank refills. Pumping, flushing, and back flushing liquids back and forth between the pumping truck and the septic tank will break up solids so they can be cleaned out. Cleaning must be done through the manhole, never through the inspection pipes. It may be easier to get to the tank that way, but it's an impossible way to get a good cleaning and a good way to damage tank baffles. Cleaning through the manhole also allows a thorough inspection of the tank. This is an important part of any cleaning because it can catch serious problems like damaged baffles or roots breaking into the tank. The cost of having a tank pump may be one reason people put it off, but it's relatively inexpensive compared to having a tank replaced or repaired due to improper maintenance. Another reason might be the problem of determining when to clean or how long since the last cleaning. For these people, contracts can be set up where the contractor determines a regular cleaning schedule. I get asked a lot about the commercial additives that are available for septic tanks. There's no such thing as a safe and effective septic system additive. The additives that are safe in the environment probably won't clean the septic tank. If they do clean the septic tank, they're not safe in the environment. The fact of the matter is there's no substitute for proper maintenance.
Now, what about maintenance for the soil treatment area? We've seen how overloading the system with water can drive solids from the septic tank into the soil treatment area and cause it to fail. We've also talked about the importance of having unsaturated soil in the drain field because the soil organisms that treat sewage need air to survive. But there's still some new ground here to cover.
Compaction is another way that air is removed from soil. For this reason, it is important to keep heavy machinery, particularly vehicles, off a drain field or any property set aside for future drain field expansion. This is especially true in winter when even the weight of a person can cause freezing deep in the soil.
Finally, with either a mound or trench-type drain field, a good cover of vegetation should be established. Plants will help absorb the nutrients in the treatment area. Mowing will encourage grasses, but water and fertilizers should not be applied. And although vegetable gardens and trees or other plants with deep roots should not be planted on the soil treatment area, these areas do offer creative landscaping opportunities that can significantly enhance the aesthetic value of property.
The cost of having a tank pump may be one reason people put it off, but it's relatively inexpensive compared to having a tank replaced or repaired due to improper maintenance.
By making these kinds of positive changes in the way we use water, we will benefit both in the short term with lower monthly water costs and in the long term by promoting a long-lasting and properly working septic system.
The thing that's exciting to me is that it can be a long-term system if I take care of the pieces of it. So by making a little investment in terms of maintenance, making a little investment in terms of watching water use, I end up with a big benefit in terms of not having to fix, repair, replace my system.
Water conservation, regular maintenance, investing for the future. These ideas are really just common sense.
But when applied to an on-site sewage treatment system, they are also a successful management strategy.
To guide property owners as they apply these principles, a number of state and local agencies have produced a series of fact sheets outlining the best management practices for shoreland, including septic system installation and maintenance.
The Septic System Owner's Guide is a booklet with a lot of information about how a septic system works and how it should be maintained, including a worksheet that can be used to calculate how often a particular septic tank should be pumped.
As these resources will illustrate, a properly functioning septic system works in harmony with the environment to provide excellent and economical sewage treatment. At the same time, our property values, our health, and our peace of mind are preserved. It's up to us to keep it that way.
There's a lot invested down there.
A lot more than meets the eye.